So I wanted to talk a little bit about Lindsey Graham, um, the Trump supporting mouthpiece, really, for the the kind of Fox News talking head character that pops up and has passed away on Saturday, I think it was. So Lindsey Graham. I'm less concerned about him and the circumstances of his death, which just do seem kind of very sort of abrupt and sudden. Um, more, I think, what interests me is the response of Democrats to his demise. I get Robert Reich's newsletter. Robert Reich, former employment secretary to Bill Clinton, outspoken critic of Trump, um, and kind of on that sort of left of the Democrat Party that believes that there should be some fundamental change in the way that America functions, but believes that the Democrat Party is still the vehicle to do that. He's kind of um, not even as radical as someone like Michael Moore, for example. Um, and in his newsletter, he said, "Well, I have my differences with Lindsey Graham, but it was kind of very much don't speak ill of the dead, and remember the good things about him, the fact that he was kind of compassionate to John McCain when John McCain was ill, and had been a sort of like a never Trumper originally." Okay. Robert Reich managed to spend the entire newsletter without mentioning the word Gaza once or Iran. And Lindsey Graham, among other things, had advocated dropping a nuclear weapon on Gaza, using a nuclear weapon there. Now, it doesn't matter how outlandish and unfeasible that might be. The fact that he's articulating it, the fact that he'd articulated that American special forces should assassinate Greta Thunberg, the fact that he had been an outspoken advocate of Israeli violence, and that he said if anything there hadn't been enough of it. The fact that he had been a key enthusiast for the American and Israeli attack on Iran, to the point of making the arguments to Trump for Netanyahu. And that he had expressed absolutely and utterly no remorse for civilian casualties, for the 160 girls killed by an American Tomahawk missile when it hit their school, that sort of thing. And it just really tells you something about how the kind of how the Democrat Party and the liberal left, not just in America, but in other parts of the Western world, kind of operate. You're talking about the sort of person who, had they been around in the Balkans in the 1990s, would have spent the rest of the days in The Hague, and the rest of the days in prison after being convicted at The Hague. The kinds of advocacy for violence that he has engaged in is, I say, directly comparable to someone like Milosevic. These are real, genuine crimes against humanity, and the perpetrators of those crimes, in this case, the Israeli Defense Force, backed with American air power against Iran, are entirely emboldened and helped and assisted by political figures, outspoken political figures, cheering them on. And figures in Washington, D.C. who have the ability to influence Trump and to kind of put pressure on him in all sorts of different ways, or to encourage him. So an entirely morally bankrupt human being, and it is okay to speak ill of the dead. Sometimes we must speak ill of the dead. Sometimes there are things to speak ill of, and the kind of the reduction in one's the personal reduction in one's own critical faculties after somebody has died needs to sometimes be kind of resisted. I agree that one should not be kind of sadistic or prurient or voyeuristic or any of these things, but we can look at an individual's political record. The recent shocking murder in the UK of Anne Widdecombe, the Conservative and then Reform Party spokesman. Objectively, the brutal murder in her own home of a 78-year-old woman is dreadful. However, if we separate that from the political record, Anne Widdecombe was somebody who advocated the rolling back of LGBT rights, advocated the rolling back of women's bodily autonomy around abortion, contraception, who was so authoritarian that she advocated the manacling of female prisoners during childbirth. This is somebody whose worldview was one around punishment and shame and judgment and condemnation, whose advocacy for Brexit has left this country materially poorer permanently. It could be argued, and very convincingly argued. So you do have to, when a political figure has died, look at their record. I mean, of course you do. We would do that with virtually anybody, and mentally separate the manner of the death from the story of their life. And of course, in both cases, Lindsey Graham and Anne Widdecombe, they'll now be used in all sorts of kind of opportunistic ways in order to bolster the political fortunes of those colleagues they leave behind. So there you go. Strange days.